In today's video, we will learn about the simple sentence, the compound sentence, the complex sentence, and the compound complex sentence. Welcome to another video presented by the Learning Depot. Before we take a look at the different sentence structures, let's review what makes a sentence. A sentence is a group of words that contains a subject and a predicate. A sentence is formed by putting clauses together. Clauses are groups of words that form parts of a sentence and contain subjects and predicates. What separates a clause from a phrase is that a clause must have a subject and a predicate. Therefore, clauses are used to form sentences. Now there are two main clauses, the coordinate and the subordinate. Let's learn more about these before we go on. A coordinate clause makes a separate and distinct statement, and it might stand by itself as grammatically independent. A clause that makes a separate and distinct statement and stands by itself as grammatically independent is called a coordinate or independent clause. Clauses that are independent are said to be coordinate, that means of the same order or rank. The other type of clause is the subordinate or dependent clause. This type of clause is needed to indicate the relationship between another clause, which is indicated with precision. A dependent clause cannot stand alone, and therefore cannot make a complete sentence. Now that we've reviewed the independent and dependent clauses, let's go on to the simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences. Let's begin with a simple sentence. A simple sentence has one independent clause. Let's look at this example. The lightning flashed. We have a subject, the lightning, and a predicate, flashed. This makes a simple sentence. Let's go on to the compound sentence. A compound sentence is made of at least two independent clauses. The lightning flashed and the thunder roared. The train started when the bell rang and Tom watched until the last car disappeared. You will notice that in both sentences, the independent clauses are joined by the conjunction and. The lightning flashed and the thunder roared. Both clauses can stand alone. They are independent. The lightning flashed can be its own sentence, and the thunder roared can stand alone as a sentence. The train started when the bell rang can stand on its own. Therefore, it is an independent clause. Tom watched until the last car disappeared is also an independent clause. Let's move on to the complex sentence. A sentence with one or more dependent clauses and at least one independent clause is a complex sentence. Let's look at some examples. Although my dog is quite big, he still wants to sit on my lap. We can see that the first clause, although my dog is quite big, is a dependent clause because it cannot stand alone as a sentence. It begins with the subordinate conjunction although. He still wants to sit on my lap. That is the independent clause. So although my dog is quite big is the dependent clause. We have one independent clause. He still wants to sit on my lap. I'm looking for a house that has 5 bedrooms. The independent clause is I'm looking for a house. The dependent clause that has 5 bedrooms. Therefore, this is also an example of a complex sentence. Now let's look at the compound complex sentence. A sentence with 2 or more independent clauses plus at least 1 or more dependent clauses is called a compound complex or a complex compound, either way. Let's look at these examples. My lab is loving and sweet, and he likes to sit on my lap, although he is quite big. You will notice that we have two independent clauses. My lab is loving and sweet. We have the coordinate conjunction and then we have our next independent clause. He likes to sit on my lap. And what comes next? You got it, a dependent clause, although he is quite big. This clause begins with the subordinate conjunction, although. Let's look at the next example. Since we do not want to catch the rush hour traffic, we must hurry or we will lose our flight. This compound complex sentence begins with the dependent clause. Since we do not want to catch the rush hour traffic. Since is a subordinate conjunction. And then we have our two independent clauses. We must hurry. We will lose the flight. And these two independent or coordinate clauses are joined by the coordinating conjunction or. To summarize, a simple sentence has one independent clause. A compound sentence is made of at least two independent clauses. A complex sentence is made of one or more dependent clauses and at least one independent clause. And a compound complex sentence is made with two or more independent clauses plus one or more dependent clauses. And remember that a clause must have a subject and a predicate, and clauses can be coordinate, meaning independent, or dependent and subordinate. And now I want you to do something. Look at this sentence. Mark was sent to his room because he did not eat his dinner, but Grandma brought him a glass of milk. I want you to tell me what kind of sentence this is and identify the clauses.
We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. We'll see you real soon.